Hello, welcome to Home Designs by Amanda. I'm really excited about today's card. This is the one that I made as like sort of my sample, and we're going to do something very similar to it, but I think we're going to add an extra layer to it and use slightly different colors. So for this card, my inspiration came from like two different places. One was when I was working on a card this past week, and I can't even find it. It should be inspiration for the background came from my doing this card. I did this background, and it's on. It was on white. I'm pretty sure it was on white. I did some sponging with a light color, and then I took my embossing folder here, which is the pine planks in the annual catalog, and I put some darker ink on here, and so that's what we're gonna do today. And it turned out like really cute, because I did like, that was like a 2 or 3 step process there. Took down a step, and in this one I did cherry cobbler with the white ink, and I put it in here and did that, and that got this kind of neat, like, I was going for like kind of the side of a barn in a snowstorm kind of a thing with that one, and I like how it turned out. But I ended up going, because at first I wanted the card on a cream base because I had an inspiration for my card, and then it kind of went to the side of the barn thing. So since this was white, I went ahead and put it on white and used other Whisper White cardstock. And so today's card that we're going to make together, I want on the very vanilla, because this is my inspiration. It was an ornament we got from my brother and sister-in-law when we first got our new house, which isn't new anymore because we've been here for almost 10 years. No, we have been here 10 years. So we've been here for 10 years, and this just kind of sits in our bathroom on a little shelf. And I saw it the other day. Yes, all year round, even though it's a Christmas ornament. It's great. I saw it the other day and thinking that would make a really cute card. So this is my inspiration, but it is cream and gold and cranberry, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this very similarly to this stuff here. So we're gonna do that together. I really like the way the white and cherry cobbler one turned out. So now we're gonna do a very vanilla cherry cobbler, and this is crumb cake here. So the first thing is that I have a very vanilla card base cut, just a regular card base, and then this, yeah, I went ahead, and since I knew that I was going to cover up all of the red and I was just using it for a border, I cut out an extra piece, just grabbed one of my stitched framelit dies, because that's like the only square or shapes I have right now. So I just did one for an extra. I'll use that on a card later for something else. And then I can just cover that up, and I have that piece that I can use for something else. So I did that. So there's our border piece, and I'm not going to do anything to that. I did think about embossing it as well, but I don't think I want to do that. I think we're going to just leave that as it is. So what we need to do to get our wood grain, because even in this, if you look at the side of the house, it is like a wood grain, so I thought that was really cute. So for this one, on the part, I do this so that it is for the particular look that I went for. I put the ink, so we're going to use Sahara Sand, because I don't have cherry cobbler, or not cherry cobbler, what is this? Crumb cake. I don't have crumb cake ink, but I do have Sahara Sand. I like that. I also have, actually this might work better, soft suede. It'll be a little darker, but I think the Stampin' Spots make it a little easier to get the ink across here. The white worked okay, but it's also not very like juicy stamp pad, where this one's kind of on the juicier side, and I'm thinking that might make it look kind of muddy, you know, and I don't want it to look muddy. I want it to be a clear thing. So when you're feeling your embossing folder, you can tell on here that the wood grain is like going in, and this is where it's raised up, so the grain part is raised up here. And it's also the side that has the logos on it. So when you open it up, that's the side we're going to ink up. And you just rub it over the whole thing. And then depending on which way you want your grain like going, we could make it so that the grain, this I have the grain going landscape, but you could put it in here so that your grain is going this way. And you know what? I think we might do that for this card. So we'll put, let me think about this for a quick second. So I usually put it in this way, so then it would be on my card, it would be going this way because I'm still making a landscape card. So I want to turn this so it's portrait, so then my grain is going the opposite way. So I usually put it down here and then put the inked side down onto it and then run it through the Big Shot. This is probably a little darker than if we had a hair scene, but I still like it. I do like it, and it looks good with a crumb cake. So that gives it some dimension, and it's not just a green. Oh, look at that. So there's that, and then you have to clean this off pretty good, especially if you use the white craft ink. That was like really, it's kind of messy on here, but you can get it off. It did come off. I use a baby wipe and wipe it pretty good, and then a dry cloth after that. Let's get some of this, most of this ink off with the baby wipe, and then my dry cloth that I use for my stamps all the time. And after I did the white, because I wiped it like quite a few times, the white is sticky, I also ran it through on just a scrap piece of like computer paper to get some of the ink out of the crevices and things like that. So from here, so far we've got those pieces there done, and then the next one we're going to take our crumb cake, which I did out of my largest stitch framelit die. We're going to take our circle, which kind of covers up more of the wood than it did on here, because we made it the wood grain part a little bit smaller. I just wanted the wood grain to be broken up from the very vanilla background with the red. But that's okay. I think you still get a nice amount of wood grain going on there. So next we're gonna just go ahead and put our simple Merry Christmas sentiment on here, and I'm going to use the Christmas is from the Merry Cafe stamp set. Probably one of my favorite stamp sets, definitely way up there. And then the Merry, I am actually using the Merry out of the At Home With You stamp set, because it's just slightly smaller, and then it also has the little wood plank sign thing out of the At Home With You stamp set. There is a Christmas in there, but it looks just like the Merry, so you get is just block letters like that. So I wanted the Christmas to be a little bit fancier. That's why I decided to bring in the extra stamp set. But you could use any sentiment really that fits across the bottom here, so you have room for your wreath, which our wreaths are the boxwood wreaths out of the annual catalog. You get 12 of them in a box, and they were a pretty decent price. I don't remember the exact price right now, but they're just really cute, and I got them in June, and I just had not like gotten around to finally figuring out how I wanted to use it, and I just really like how this one is turning out. So there we have one of those out ready for when we are. And I'm using, for this one, because of the coloring, on this one I use silver. I am going to use gold to go with this. I stamped the Christmas, and then the Merry, and then this last. This is after we do the embossing, so that no embossing powder sticks on it. Because I'm pretty sure, yeah, on this one I did the, if you want this embossed, you can go ahead and do that too. I just didn't. I wanted it to kind of hide in the background from the sentiment. So when I put it on there first, even though it's not a wet ink, it still held on to some of the embossing powder. So then only part of it got embossed, and I didn't really care for that. So we're going to go ahead and get out the Versamark ink, and I did start with the Christmas down at the bottom, just so we can kind of line things up from there. And there's our little Merry Christmas. I like the way that turned out. Not as sloppy looking as the first round. The first one just looked really messy. So, that off the side. Okay, so we're done with that one, and then we can go ahead and with probably just go ahead and use the same color I used there, which is soft suede. And stamp over my Merry. Trying to make sure I get it even. So there we go. And then from there we can take and get our wreath ready to go on here. I did use some just red ribbon I had lying around, and I just kind of cut off a small piece for putting on the wreath. So having it a little longer doesn't hurt, because then you can just trim it down later, or if you start out with it too short, you can't really add any more on, you know, that kind of a thing. I have no idea what kind of ribbon we have in the catalog. I didn't really look, and this just happened to be what I had, so I used it. So I just have them going in an angle, and I just kind of, whichever way, however you want them going away from each other. You could do it that way or this way. I like it that way, I think. And what I did was in between them to hold them together, I put a blue dot between the two pieces of ribbon, just to hold them together. And I want it straight. There. Oh, I might have got these ones too close. There we go. There. That'll work there. Okay. And then I put in a brad, because I just have these old brads that I had from long years ago. If you don't want to mess with a brad and trying to poke holes and everything, you could just put an enamel dot right there, and it does kind of the same thing. It gives you the look of something hanging there to hold it up. I'm going to go ahead and use the brad because I just like the hardware look of it being on there. And so I just poked a hole for my brad in here. You have to be kind of careful with the ribbon though, because you can snag it and then it pulls and things like that. But and then from there, what I did was put a Stampin' Dimensional right up here. I used a regular size, but this was pushing it kind of close for it to be covering the whole thing. So I think what I'm going to do is still use from the full size ones, but I'm going to just use part of the edge here where it's only like 3/4 of one instead of a full one. And I'm going to go ahead and just put that up here at the top where I want to. Okay, so there's our card all put together, and you can kind of fluff the wreath as you want. These are kind of long. See, I trimmed it down here so it wasn't like hanging off the top. So we can go ahead and do that. Card. Oh. Okay, and then on the inside, I just took and put a happiest holidays to you and some snowflakes. And these stamps were all used out of the October 2017 paper promo kit, which is no longer available. But any sentiment, any holiday sentiment, and the snowflakes, you can get both. You can always use the snowflakes out of the Merry Cafe. There's snowflakes in the Colorful Seasons, and I'm sure there's other snowflakes elsewhere. And then this one you could always do, not really, oh, you could always do, since there's Merry Christmas out here, you could do and a Happy New Year on the inside. So you could get all the stamps you need out of other stamp sets. So I'm going to just go ahead and do that again with this one. There we have a cute, rather quick, I thought it was rather quick, card that looks very homey. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed creating this card with me today, and that you, if you need any of the supplies or anything, you just hop over to my website. It's linked down below for this particular blog post, and then you can get any of the supplies you need there by clicking on the links for it. And then if you need a holiday or an annual catalog, just let me know and I'll be happy to send one out to you. And thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!